My name is Peter Summers. I am a travel nurse recruiter for Atlas MedStaff. On the first few videos, we went over the process of identifying trees, tapping them, collecting the sap, concentrating the sap by removing water through reverse osmosis and boiling it. In this episode, we finish out the syrup making process and get it ready for sale. Okay, so our bucket's almost full. We have it set at 218.4 degrees. You don't know if that's syrup unless it's 67% sugar. So what we have to do is we have to test with a hydrometer. A hydrometer is essentially just something that floats inside of our syrup. So we'll fill up this hydrometer cup, put this in here, and it should float right at that red line. That means that it's the perfect density. So we're making syrup that's the right density. In order to be able to carry that bucket up there, we just bump up the temperature a couple degrees. That will shut the valve. Carry our bucket over, pour it into, and I want you to look at this. It's not clear like you'd expect to see on your pancake, because in addition to giving out sugar, the trees give off minerals too. And those minerals precipitate out in the syrup as you concentrate it. And they call that sugar sand. After we've taken the syrup off the evaporator, we bring it up to temperature to over 185 degrees, because that's what we want to bottle it at. And we run it through our filter press. And the filter press has a series of papers in here. These take out any of the impurities of the sugar sand. It comes out really, really clear. You can see that there's none of that grit. So what we do, we'll save a sample, and we'll use this for the color grading and for testing. And then the syrup we store in stainless steel barrels. These hold about 15.5 gallons worth of syrup. We'll store it in here until we're ready to bottle into smaller containers. No oxygen can get through here. Keeps the syrup pristine for a really long time. Fill up barrel after barrel after barrel. That's what we do. This is the third barrel today. We'll probably get a couple more before we're done. Sap's really running quite well. Filtering is the worst part. These papers will get clogged, stuff will spill. Filtering is the worst part, no matter what scale you're at, hobby level to professional. It's like filtering is the worst part, but it's a very important part. Every barrel that we fill, we label with three things. We label it with the date that we made the barrel, what barrel it was from the season. This is our 8th barrel, and then the number at the end is the light transmittance. So we grade these, and what amount of light can go through there determines what grade this is. So a grade of 39 is going to be a robust. The grading system's changed before, being a light amber, medium amber, dark amber, and grade B, which essentially just means from lightest to darkest. Light, medium, dark, darker, but then it was called grade B, which is really good, but when you say grade B, well, it sounds like it must be worse. It's not worse, it's just darker. It's like some people actually prefer it. So they changed it so that based upon the light transmittance. So we have a little gauge that tells us what goes through, and so at 39 means that 39% of the light could go through that first barrel we did. The second barrel we did today was a 41, and the third barrel was a 43. So this means it's a higher number, more light could go through there. That means that it's a lighter color. More light could be transmitted through there. All the way up to like a pure water or glycerin sample that we put in there, that would be a 100. So if 100% could go through, it would look just like water. And then if it was 0, no light would go through. All the syrup tastes different depending on the color. The color is sort of a function of the conditions when the sap was collected. The warmer it is, the more that the sucrose molecule breaks down into glucose and fructose, and it caramelizes more. And that happens more at warmer temperatures. So usually if you've had warm temperatures, you're going to get darker syrup. If you have cooler temperatures, you're going to end up with lighter syrup. One's not better or worse. They have different uses, different functions. The darker the syrup, typically, the stronger the flavor is going to be. But it all tastes pretty good. Another successful day in the sugar bush. We got my dad, Don Summers.
Howdy.
I, of course, am Peter Summers. Successful day in the sugar bush. And I mean, this proves, I think, that this is a hobby.
It's clearly a hobby, to our hobby.
I mean, we're done before dinner. The sun hasn't even set yet. I mean, this
65 gallons of syrup.
65 gallons of syrup made.
Over 3,000 gallons of sap processed.
And we're done before dinner.
Yeah.
The takeaway is making syrup is really easy. All you have to do is boil water, or sap, which is like water, until it's concentrated enough, like syrup. But we just like to make more syrup faster.
Exactly.
And we just like to improve and do better, with the number one goal of always just making as good of syrup as we can. So we keep making changes that we think will improve the product.
Well, I guess the fact that we've won first place in the Minnesota Producers 2 years in a row shows it works.
That's true. To first place, hopefully 3 years in a row. We keep improving just because we like change, we like the improvement. What's next?
Well, I think our big idea is to make this vacuum system a little bit more accurate throughout the woods. I think we should put in a monitoring system next year.
Yeah, they now have monitoring systems that you can put at the end of every main line, and if there's a leak, one main line will have a lower pressure than the rest of them. So
then we don't have to be walking for miles looking for a leak. We can direct ourselves out.
That's right. We can walk if we want to, but we don't have to check the lines if we know that the pressure's high.
Yep.
Because that actually does take a lot of time.
Once the season starts, it's a little bit hard to keep going out and checking for leaks.
You know, I guess in our minds this seems like a reasonable hobby, because there have been times when we used to boil for 48 hours straight. We'd take turns. Like, I would usually stay up overnight, and he'd wake up early and just keep going. Keep tossing wood into the firebox, Now turn a switch, turn it the other way, and make 65 gallons of syrup in less than an 8-hour day. Pure hobby.
Total hobby. Out of control.
So I hope you enjoyed the things that I showed you. It's been a fun process for us. 27 or 28 years.
Yep.
It'll be fun to see what another 27 or 28 years brings.
Let's hope I see it.